Hello, welcome and thank you for having a look at this video. Today I'm going to show you how to adjust your W124 if it's a petrol engine in such that you get the best of fuel economy out of it without having to cause you any havoc. This particular one is a 2.3 litre W124 230E. At this time, the things I've changed, as you can see, is the HT leads. I've also changed the air filter to a K&N filter to give more breathing to the vehicle. First of all, what we're going to do is start by taking the airbox off and showing you what the K&N filter looks like. I usually use a power tool because it's a lot quicker rather than using a 10mm spanner. Just make sure the bolts do not slip over and go into the engine, because it can cause a lot of havoc for you. Once the bolts are removed, I place them right just on top of the fan. This casing just there, place it right there so it won't go anywhere, and I always know where to find them later on. Once that's done, unclip the latches and then lift the box off, and we're going to show you what the air filter looks like. Here we are. When you do get one of these from K&N, what they do, they give you a few stickers so you can stick them on, so when you take it for an MOT, whoever's changing your air filter will not just grab it and chuck it away, because these are washable and you can do it yourself, and that's why I've got one of these. It saves you quite a bit of money over time. So yeah, that's what a K&N filter looks like. Now we're going to go on to taking the whole box off, so I can show you the three parts that you can use to minimize the fuel usage of your vehicle. That knot seems to be proving hard, so I'm going to use a spanner in a while. Tried this with the tool twice, and eventually I realized I have to use a spanner. Of course, like I said, these do come in handy. It makes it easier to take things off. Just make sure the pressure on it is not so high up, so you won't have to over thread the knots as you do. There we go. Once it's loose, I can use my tool, my drill to release it all out as it is. There are 3 bolts, 2 either side of the engine and 1 on the other side. So 2 on the left hand side as you look at the vehicle, and 1 on the right hand side by the throttle cable. This is something most of you will know, by the way. In this case, use a spanner if in doubt. Of course, once you've used your spanner and the bolt is loose, you can use a drill to get it out, and it makes it a lot easier, like I said earlier. Just as earlier, make sure you keep a good eye on where the bolts are, or try and shift them more towards the box than on the outside, as they can fall off and it'll be a bit of a nightmare trying to get it out. Here we are, here comes the box, it's off. Usually I'll move it to the side. I think what I tried to do this time around is to loosen up the pipe for the air coming in. Eventually I noticed that will be very unuseful for time, so I moved it about. I moved it off to the side, as you'll see in a minute. Yeah, this you probably won't need to do this if you don't have this. I mean, as for mechanical work, you know, a bit of common sense as well does come in handy. Of course, when you take off the breathing pipe before you take off the box, otherwise you yeah, so you've got to remove the air breather for the oil that's connected to the airbox. So that comes off. Be careful it doesn't snap, because the old ones have a tendency of snapping. If it does snap, then of course you've got about maybe 20 to 30 quid worth of excess to pay when you go to the dealers. Three things I'm going to point out. The fuel mixture adjuster. There we go, that's the fuel mixture adjuster. And just to the left, you've got the rotor cover, which you can also adjust to give you how much fire is going to the engine. There you go. If you loosen that bolt, you can twist it left and right, and then depending on what state your vehicle's in, you get whatever it is. But here we go, you've got just below there, in black, not where I'm pointing, just below the camera. Oh, it's just gonna ask you, I'll show you as it comes along. What I'm trying to get to is the EHA adjuster, and as you can see, I'm actually blocking it off. Okay, there we go. If you pause there you've got the EHA valve, and just down you can see some spikes right there. That's the adjuster. If you turn it left or right, you get to adjust. That's the EHA valve. And you need the 6mm spanner to loosen up the bolt for the distributor cap. It's going to take a bit more than that. You will need at least 2 hands if it's still factory fitted. Okay, so it's loose now. You don't need to remove it all the way. Just so you can move it left and right, just so you can adjust it. Just to the left of the 2 bolts here is the EHA valve, and just where I'm touching, as you can see, is the EHA close idle adjuster. Before I put the text in, so it makes it easier to distinguish. And of course, just to the left, as dirty as it can be, is the fuel distributor. What the EHA does is actually decides how much fuel goes into the engine when the engine is really cold. So Mercedes like these can start even in very cold weather. And here you got the ignition adjustment. If you move it left and right, you notice the engine noise will go higher up because it's revving, and that will determine how many revs you've got. And of course, the higher your revs, the lower your economy. So you have to look at the economy gauge and your revs to adjust these 3 things. Half the time you may not need to touch the fuel mixture. As for this vehicle, I've already adjusted the fuel mixture, so it's not, I won't be looking at that area. What I'm going to be looking at is the distributor cap adjustment and or the rotor arm adjustment, or something you call it, and looking back here, with the economy is far to the left, so we're happy with how much economy, how the vehicle is doing in economy. However, we need to get the revs up because it needs to be, even when it starts, it needs to be just above 10, and when the engine is warmed up, it should be at the zone 10, just below 10. That's a 1,000 revolutions. Once obviously you've got the rev counter just on the 10 or just above 10 when it's really cold, or just below 10 when the engine is warm, and your economy gauge is far to the left, depending on how much revs it's being going, then of course you've got a decent economy going, and that will not even tell you what the MOT says, because the precision is so perfect between the two. What I've done here is I've cleaned up the fuel distributor a bit so it looks a bit shinier, and what I use Easy Start, British Easy Start, straight on. The engine was on while I was doing that, and what you notice, if you've got the engine on, it will start cutting like this, because this is a bit like fuel going into the engine. A lot more shiny than what it used to be when I started the video.